Just how you doing today?
Not too bad. TGI almost Friday.
Yeah, Greg and I have both decided that we're tired today.
Yeah,
We
it's
kind of
been a
came
week.
to a mutual understanding there, didn't we?
Yeah, it has. It's been a week, that's for sure.
It has been a weekend. What'd you have for lunch today?
Let's see. I had chicken breast and then a couple jalapeno cheddar bratwurst.
Jalapeno cheddar bratwurst, huh?
Yeah, yep.
Well, I
Love 'em.
did something I haven't done in a long time for lunch today. I had to go to downtown Canton. I went to a music store in downtown Canton, Georgia.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm trading in a Vox amplifier for to complete my Marshall stack with the bottom cabinet unit,
Okay.
and it's just going to be classic. My neighbors
right.
already hate me. This is gonna put me on double secret probation, I'm afraid.
Well,
But
that's the goal, right?
yeah, but I was hungry, and it dawned on me I hadn't eaten all day. So I stopped at a Crystal Burger. When was the last time you had that crap?
I don't think we've ever had a Crystal Burger here in DFW.
Think White Castle.
Yep. Okay. So we had a Crystal. Was it Crystal?
Crystal Burgers, yeah. But it's the Crystal Burger is the White Castle of the Deep South. Now, I
Okay.
happen to like White Castle better, but we don't have them here. They're a staple in the South if you like that kind of stuff. I hadn't had one in a long time, and I had to get something to eat, so I pulled in. And you just do what you do. I said, oh, I'll have a 12-pack sack.
All right.
So instead of eating all that bread, I just took about 3 or 4 pieces of meat and put it on top in between two. Had one big Crystal Burger, right?
There you go.
No fries, even though I got the fries. I'll chop those up and make them with eggs in the morning. That's just kind of the mood I'm in. We'll see how I feel about that tomorrow morning. You know what's going to happen. They're going to get thrown out.
Yeah, most likely.
But
Leftover
it makes
fries.
me feel better since I paid for it. I'll just keep them there overnight. My wife will go, what's this? And I'll go, I don't know. And because if I don't, she's going to say, you're eating fast food crap? I'm like, no. But Ryan did. Ryan's my son. So there you go.
Yeah, not Ryan Petty.
Not Ryan Petty. Not Ryan. Oh, I've blamed him for stuff too.
Well, it's easy.
Blame everybody but you. Who were you talking to till 3 o'clock in the morning? Ryan Petty called.
Yeah.
Good. No, usually when that happens, I blame Alan Gottlieb because he's out on the West Coast, you know. Alan calls, which has happened before. But, yeah, I don't blame Alan for anything. Alan's just an absolute stud. Speaking of Alan, guys, I've got another video coming out. The segment from Sunday's Monster Cast, 4 segments. The first segment of my opening is already out there on YouTube, and it's beginning to get some legs right now. I've got a new short going up later today, and that will point to segment 2, which is me and Alan talk, or excuse me for the grammar, police, Alan and I,
Oh, there we go.
because somebody will comment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I got a funny for you, too, about that, regarding that type of person in just a second.
Yeah, oh boy.
No, it's a good one, because if they're like, there are people, they're out there, you know, but don't let me get sidetracked like I did the other day.
I've run
You
a
have to
couple
remember.
of shows for hosts
Okay,
like that.
he's making me get sidetracked. So I was talking about Alan Gottlieb. So I've split those segments up for you, and that new short will point to the second segment, which is Alan and I talking about the cases and that history that he has literally created himself. Well, no, it's not himself, but we all know who the genius is behind everything. The man behind the curtain is Alan Gottlieb. And I know that for a fact. There's not going to be a case filed if Alan doesn't want to file it. And if Alan wants to file a case, it's going to be filed no matter who doesn't want to file it. And the genius of Alan Gottlieb has put us where we are today. So we'll have those 4 segments coming out for you over the course of the next 4 days. Well, now 3 because the first one's already out. So make sure to head over to YouTube and subscribe to us at Armed American Radio. I think we've added another 500 or 600 subscribers just over the last 5 days.
Cool.
So, yeah, we're growing like crazy over there, guys. We need your help to do that. So thank you. We really do appreciate that very, very much. Now, about those people. There's a church across the street from my neighborhood. And what was this 4th of July? The nation's 250th anniversary, was it not?
That's correct.
They've been blowing fireworks off over there at the church every year. And those of us that live in this neighborhood, now if you know anything about Georgia, I'll quote my friends from El Paso that came out, my Mexican buddies that came out, and they go, man, it sure is green here, man. Because it's all brown and dirt and tumbleweeds in El Paso.
In West Texas, it's tumbleweeds and dry grass
That's
and
it.
fire hazards. Yep.
You don't see, and that's the firehead, you don't see trees. It's just all brown. It's kind of like Arizona. There's green even in Arizona, but there is not in the El Paso area, okay? It's just tumbleweed dirt. But around here, you know, you being right across the street and very hilly, it's kind of hard to see the fireworks through all of that mess. So you go over to the pool, which is closer to the entrance of the neighborhood, which is right across from the church, and you can watch those fireworks. And they do quite the show. They had a big deal planned this year. And you got that one person that no one knows who it is. The church put a memo out to everybody in the vicinity, not just their members, but all of the local neighborhoods, and said, I'm sorry, we can't blow our fireworks off this year. Someone called the county and said, they don't have a permit every year.
Oh.
Who does that?
Oh my gosh, Karen does it. That's who does.
You know, those people, man, they are out there.
The worst.
For what reason does a person who lives somewhere that can see that blow it for everybody because they don't have... What person does that? Usually a person that votes Democrat, socialist, that just wants to wreck everything for everybody. So it just so happens that the pastor of the church lives in my neighborhood, and he said, you know what? I don't need a permit on my cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
He took the whole shebang and blew it out of our neighborhood.
Awesome.
Yeah, which was unbelievable, too, by the way. But anyway, those folks are just out there, man, and I don't know, got to talking
By
about
the way,
it. It reminded me of that. Just, they're there, guys. And I know you likely know one of them, too. And if you don't know them, you've run into them. They're the ones that just got to wreck everything for everybody for no apparent reason. Go ahead, Greg.
The need to have a permit to shoot fireworks on the 4th of July, 250th anniversary is absurd as it is.
Come on. They've been blowing them off there. I've been in this house for 21 years, and they've been blowing them off for 19 of those 21 years. And the nation's 250th anniversary, and you got that Karen or Darren or Karen-Darren couple.
Mm-hmm.
Who are probably upset because their little toy poodle that's probably dyed pink.
They suck at life.
Just gets upset because of that, so they call and check and they find out, and that's just kind of stuff that goes on. But those people are out there. They're just out there.
They're terrible.
Yeah, they are. But those are the people that like to ruin it for everybody. And I'll equate that to guns because it's really simple to do. Those are the people that hate your guns, and they don't want you to have one because they hate guns. And speaking of that, let's bring something up on the screens here because we can. Let's just do this. I'm going to bring up the Trace report today. Now, I found this really, really interesting today. You know how we've been talking about how, all this monumental, historic 2A news. And where's the anti-gunners? Have you heard anything from them, Greg, in Dallas, Texas, at the mothership with all the bells and whistles and all the cool stuff going on behind you that looks like a spaceship that controls everything that we do?
It's been quite a bit of this.
So I figured let's go to the Trace, and I pulled this up right before showtime today. It's not a site that I normally go to because it is, in fact, a garbage site. But they've got a reporter over there by the name of Jennifer Mashiu, who I've spoken to before, and I can't say that I know her, but we are familiar with each other over the years. And I've always had decent conversation with her, even though she's way on the other side. Although I'm not really convinced about it. Her father was a mobster, mafia, hitman or something. She's got quite the storied past. But she writes for the Trace over there.
Her father does. She doesn't.
Well, her family does. Let me put it that way. Let's just say she knows things that I'm pretty sure she probably doesn't want to know or didn't want to know growing up. But she wrote a book about it. Anyway, I've conversed with her before in the past electronically. I think we've spoken maybe one time over the years. But she writes for the Trace over there. I thought, let's go see what they're writing over there about all this monumental news today. So I'm showing this to you on the screen here. If you're watching, which you can do on YouTube, X, Rumble, and all that fun stuff. July 4th shootings this year went down again. But it wasn't without tragedy. Let's see if we can formulate some type of method to their madness here. And we'll talk about this on the other side of the break as well. And then Scott Coburn will be here from Patriot Mobile. We'll find out where in the world Scott is and where Patriot Mobile is today. Teens in this small Indiana city want to talk about shootings. Adults are listening. This is latest news. What can cities learn from Baltimore's extraordinary decline in violence? Florida hospitals act fast to discharge gun victims, especially if they're not insured. Philadelphia's gun carry license revocations more than doubled over the past 5 years. I don't hear or see anything yet about the monumental slap in the face they've taken from the Supreme Court, the Constitution, and the Second Amendment, and hundreds of millions of gun owners across the country. At least not yet, but we'll continue to scroll through when we come back. Don't go. All right, Greg, I'm going to go back to the Trace. I'm going to bring this back up for those that are watching. And continue. I'm headline surfing here, okay? Public health. They studied nearly 14,000 people to see how eviction rates are linked to gun violence. Now, remember, we're coming off the heels and are in the midst of what has been historic momentum for the Second Amendment. And here is what Bloomberg's organization is spending money reporting. And I'm reading these. You can see them right on your screen if you're watching, coming right down the line. Can mass shootings be prevented? Researchers believe it's possible, from our friend Jennifer Maschia over there. Just 1 in 5 gunshot patients are accessing the intervention programs designed to help them. Even if you've never been shot, gun violence may still be hurting you. Another headline. Okay, that's interesting. Maybe we should read that. I have a feeling they're going to be talking about dollars and money spent and all that garbage. Next section, a world of hurt. Turner's Outdoorsman sold the largest share of guns traced to crimes in California. Even a decade of unintentional shootings could not slow America's top pistol maker. Oh, this is about the SIG. Sig Sauer's P320 has prompted scores of lawsuits for alleged safety issues. Insiders say a push to make more guns led to shoddy manufacturing. This is anti-gun garbage at its best, ladies and gentlemen. Another headline, newly obtained documents show how gun manufacturers swamped the market with large capacity magazines. At least 717 million devices, like the one used in the Brown University mass shooting, have been produced and distributed during a 30-year period, including a decade when they were banned. Why doesn't that read at least 717 million devices like the one used by millions of Americans every single day? No. Let's focus on a magazine in a shooting, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, are rare to begin with. More people are killed by feet and hands and bats and sticks than all rifles combined. But that wouldn't work well for their reporting, their agenda, would it? Next headline over there. He patrolled the neighborhoods where his sons were drawn into violence. Solutions is the next section. Now, we've not heard anything yet. What am I, 3 sections into this? Yeah, 3 sections down. Nothing about the momentum of the Second Amendment. Great Lakes, get this. I was scared. Minneapolis, run by Democrats. Anti-violence workers enter trauma season, still reeling from ICE shootings. In Grand Rapids, also Democrat run, a police shooting has reignited long-simmering tensions. No public outcry in Springfield after a kid is killed. Why? Another Democrat-run city. Cops who shoot civilians are rarely punished, but one verdict in Illinois, run by Democrats. Chicago is a section run by Democrats. Chicago mayor launches Office of Gun Violence Reduction. We've been ragging that for the last couple of weeks. More on Chicago. Still nothing. Then they go to Philadelphia, another Democrat-run city. They look like slot machines. They pay out in cash, and critics say they are getting workers killed. Visibly armed, they patrolled the streets to protect the public from ICE. Now their gun licenses are being revoked. And then police, and stopping a shooting before a teen picks up a gun. Then the industry. Well, we're 4 segments into this thing now. We're way below the fold, Greg. We're probably on page 3 if this were a newspaper.
All right.
New York Appeals Court upholds $4.3 million judgment against former NRA CEO Wayne LaPierre. That's fairly old news. The gun rights group trying to fundraise off a Parkland survivor's birthday. Sig Sauer hits legislative hurdles in its push to avoid lawsuits. Trump's tariffs are driving up ammo prices. And look at this. We finally get to U.S. policy. Way below the fold. Jennifer Maschia, our friend. Law. Department of Justice sues Virginia and California over gun restrictions. The Supreme Court will decide whether states can ban assault weapons. Small little headline. Not the big headline. The big headline was Virginia. 3,300 challenges to gun laws have flooded the courts since SCOTUS expanded the right to bear arms. Guys, when I put out my video today, you're going to hear Alan Gottlieb, in his own words, address that. And then next headline, Supreme Court says states can't ban guns at public-facing businesses. That's the Wolford decision, I'm assuming, because that's what the state did. That's the vampire rule that was just recently struck down in Wolford 2 weeks ago. Part of the trifecta of slap in the face with the Constitution. Trump's Justice Department is suing cities and states to dismantle gun laws. Jennifer Maschia, our friend again. How a Supreme Court decision on gun rights has reverberated through federal courts. It should say liberal federal courts. Let me make that clear. I don't even have to go into it to know that's what they're talking about. How many people have been shot in ICE raids? Our friend Jennifer Maschia again. I'm not sure what that has to do with the reporting on the Second Amendment. And then then it goes into New Yorkers filled classes, gun classes, as applicants for concealed carry permits go up. Some states are making it easier to sue gun companies. You go on and on down the road. Guys, I'm 4 or 5 sections in before they even mentioned. Now, the takeaway before we go to the break is this question. Think about it during the break. Why are they so silent? Why aren't they talking about it? If it were the other way around, that's all we'd be talking about, just like we did in Virginia when they got slapped by the Democrats. And what did we do? We're beating it down. They're so embarrassed, they don't even want to talk about it. They have to, so they bury it way, way, way below the fold. Guys, they're losing, and they know it. This is just very basic evidence of that. I highly recommend you stay up with what these people are writing. When we come in from Patriot Mobile. Scott, welcome into the program, my friend. How the heck are you? I got to start with this, Scott. Where in the world is Scott Coburn at Patriot Mobile today? Where are you, man? How are you?
Mark, always good to hear your voice, my friend.
Likewise.
I tell you, you caught me on a good day. I'm actually in my home base today.
Oh, nice.
But I leave at 6:30 in the morning for Akron. So
okay, well, hey.
I'm back on the road.
You know, fighting the fight is, believe me, I know. Been on the road a lot for over the last 18, 20 years myself, and it never stops, Scott, does it? But let's talk about, I've been getting perspective from a lot of our regular guests and partners and all. And Scott, this last month and a half has been absolutely historic for the United States of America since its founding. And when I say historic, Scott, I don't mean like modern history. I mean all the way back to day one. The movement in the Second Amendment, with the Supreme Court taking the 2 assault weapons ban cases, which are Second Amendment Foundation cases, which I'm sure you know, and the 2 victories that we've just recently had in the Hamani decision and the Wolford decision, the smackdown in Virginia with the ban being reiterated again by the state court judge, because the Democrats in Virginia were saying, no, our bill's still in effect. And the state court judge says, no, it's not. The injunction is statewide. And then the lawsuits flying. Scott, we can win this. We can end this, can't we?
We really can, and you hit the nail on the head, man. We've stacked up some pretty big wins, but I'll tell you, now is not the time to sit back and rest on any kind of victories. We've got a lot of work to push this thing on. You know that. Your listeners know that. And what better time is there to think really about your own personal life and what else you might be able to do to help the cause, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the things you can do is switch your cell phone to Patriot Mobile.
That's
because
simple.
We're the only ones in the fight in that space. You won't find another cell phone provider that does what we do for 2A.
And, guys, Scott is absolutely correct. I've been at many events with Patriot Mobile. Guys, they donate money to the causes and to the organizations that are winning these battles. Second Amendment Foundation, National Rifle Association. Pick one. Pick one. Patriot Mobile is on the front lines. Think about that. I always love talking to you guys about this, and we love when Danielle's on the program. We just love Danielle. She just goes off in that whole direction of knowing everything about. I've never seen a corporation so in touch with our rights, and I'm really, really proud of Patriot Mobile for that. I honestly, Scott, I don't know of any other company out there other than, there's the usual suspects that are built on patriotism that sell and make patriotic things, right? But when you're talking about a company that makes cell phones and competes with the 3 big guys that we don't like to mention, that would be AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon guys. I never mention their names because they don't support your gun rights. I just did. Sometimes Scott and I have fun with that. But they don't. They don't. In fact, they actively fight against it by donating to the causes that they believe in, which is antithetical to what we all stand for, Scott. And it's so refreshing to see that. Remind people, what's the percentage of people that carry at Patriot Mobile in the offices?
Oh, probably 7 out of 10 carry every day.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And does Patriot Mobile get upset when the employees come to work armed and exercising their Second Amendment rights? I'm going to guess they do, right? They get mad and say, leave the premises?
No. Some of our lunatic neighbors down the street might have a problem with it, but not in our office.
Hey, feel free to name names. No, you don't have to do that. I won't put you on the spot with that. I'll have to look it up and find it out myself. No, I won't do that to you. But no, guys, you're talking about a company that encourages the employees to carry live. I say live. I'm looking at my sheet here because I was going to mention, Scott, I don't know if you knew this, but we welcomed a whole bunch of new affiliates to the show. WHAM in Ann Arbor, Michigan, AM and FM, WDDQ, Adel, Georgia, WJHC FM in Jasper, Florida, WSFB AM in Quitman, Georgia, which is down around Valdosta and the Tallahassee area. And we've just got a whole bunch of new people listening to the program today that are hearing you for the first time talk about these things. Talk to those new listeners on those new stations, Scott, and tell them who you are.
Well, let me tell you, Mark, Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. We're different, and we're different for a lot of reasons. We have better technology, for one. I mean, we have all three networks. That's something different, all three major networks. We have 100% U.S.-based customer support. Now, that's different. If I asked if you're not on Patriot Mobile and the last time you called your cell phone service provider, how'd that work out for you, right?
You couldn't even
understand a word they said.
Right. Well, no, one thing I did know, I did hear this. Thank you for calling. This is Paul. But I didn't believe him when he said that. Anyway, I'm just saying.
Hey, here's one thing I can promise you. When you call Patriot Mobile, the only accent you might hear is a little East Texas hillbilly, okay? That's the only accent you might hear. So you're going to talk to another real red-blooded American who loves our Second Amendment rights just as much as you do. So, yeah, and it's easy to switch. You know that. We make it easy. You call in, takes about 20 minutes, do it from your own home or office. No more walking into a retail store and walking out 3 hours later wanting to slam your head in the car door. Nope, we do it all over the phone. We make it easy.
Has that ever happened to you before? It happens to me all the time. There's a report out. This just popped in my head. I don't know if you saw this. It was up, I think it was on Fox News. I think I read it about an hour ago, where Microsoft is nixing 4,800 American jobs and replacing them.
I saw it. Yeah.
Did you see that with H-1B visa? Scott,
Yeah.
talk to me about that. Can you imagine as a principal in a large American company doing that to American workers? What goes through these companies' minds?
It's pretty sad, honestly, but to tell you the truth, it doesn't surprise me with a company like Microsoft with some of the things they stand for. But big tech, they've gone completely mad. I mean, they're trying to take away all of our rights and trying to ship all the jobs offshore and everything else. They're as anti-American, it seems, as anyone these days. But that's why we have to support companies like Patriot Mobile and others that are doing the right thing and, supporting our country, supporting our constitutional rights, and keeping things at home, if you will.
Well, Scott, I'll probably wind up taking us to the break with this, but when you talk about those things, I'll make it personal because it is personal for me. I used to buy like soap products, okay? Guys, you've probably heard it. I'll name the name, Dr. Squatch, right? Well, there's now a conservative company out there that says, why are you guys buying Dr. Squatch products, California-based, LGBTQ supporting, left-wing, Antifa stuff, when you can buy better products made better, that support your right to bear arms, that support your conservative values. Guess who I've switched to? And I'm not going to name their name right now. I will, hopefully, in the future. There's a method to my madness there. But honestly, Scott, I take that stuff personally, and I don't think as a consumer, I don't think we do enough of our homework, to be honest with you, brother. I really don't. That's why it's fun to be able to talk to you, because there are companies out there that think like you do and act like you do. We just have to find them. And when we do find them, we have to support them, don't we?
Absolutely. Yeah, and it honestly, Mark, it comes down to prioritizing our values and beliefs above convenience and comfort, right? So doing your homework, getting in your car and driving a mile down the road to buy your coffee instead of walking across the street and buying it from Woke Bucks or wherever, that's what it is.
No, it's blackout coffee here, ladies and gentlemen, as they all know. Scott, when we come back, I want to go to staying back. You mentioned something that's very, very important, and that's keeping our foot on the gas. Complacency becomes an issue when we win. And that's very serious, as we've got midterms coming up. We'll talk with Scott Coburn about that. One more segment to go. Don't go away. Go back to Scott Coburn. Scott, welcome back in, my friend. Let's talk a little bit about complacency. And you mentioned it in some of your opening statements here. Because, Scott, when do we get too used to winning sometimes? And when we do get used to winning, we begin to feel like the threat is no longer there, right? And that's not what has to happen. The opposite needs to happen, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. It's funny when the liberal progressives are in control of the administration and they're trying to push all their silly agendas on us. Yeah, we can get pretty fired up and stay in the fight. But the problem is when we get a favorable administration and we rack up a few wins, conservatives by nature want to go back and live the American dream. They want to raise their families. They want to work hard. They want to get involved with their church and volunteer and be involved in their communities and live life the way we were intended. And they tend to take their eye off the ball when it comes to defending our freedoms. And so by the time they get back in the fight, it might be too late. So my suggestion is that stay in the fight, stay up to speed and educated on the issues, because this midterm is sneaking up on us here quickly.
Oh yes.
And we could lose control. We could lose control pretty quick if we're not careful here.
How do you feel about the midterms? I'm going to get your thoughts on that. I'll tell you what mine are, but I want to hear yours first.
You know, if you'd asked me that question 3 weeks ago, I probably wouldn't have had a very favorable response.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm feeling better. I'm feeling a little better given the events of the last few weeks. However, we've seen how this thing goes, man. I mean, we're about to go into a season of political fury in our radio and television and our lives of the likes that we've never seen. There's more money being raised for political campaigns than in the history of our country. And we're about to see all hell unleashed from these political candidates. And we better be ready to sort through all the garbage and get to the truth and figure out who we're going to be voting for. I mean, because there's a lot of garbage out there. And Texas is probably at the top of the heap of the stink pile right now with all the crap we got going on.
No question. The whole Tallarico thing and you know, I mean, this guy was Beto O'Rourke on steroids, you know, pulling the whole Biden thing.
Yeah.
So Patriot Mobile, guys, you know, as we talk about what's getting ready to be spent, Patriot Mobile counters a lot of that. I see a lot of your ads all over the place. Are you guys planning any massive campaigns leading up to the midterms to keep people involved, not just mentioning Patriot, but the importance of these midterms? Are you guys going to be involved in any of that?
110%. This we're going to be extremely focused on get out the vote, and we're going to be focused on the evangelical vote with the churches. This is going to be important, and we're going after the hunters and the outdoorsmen and the 2A guys. We got to get people out to vote. If hunters would vote, man, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. We have got to get the hunters, the outdoorsmen, conservationists, and there's a lot of reasons they should. Some of these ballot initiatives, these crazy things like you're seeing in Oregon, that you and I have talked about this, where they're trying to outlaw. Yeah, that's got to get the people fired up to get registered. I mean, a lot of these hunters aren't even registered to vote. We got to get people registered and get them to vote.
I think that changes in Oregon. I think you're right. That is going to fire it up. There's that backblow effect that the other side doesn't expect. Now, look, Oregon's a very beautiful place. I've been there many, many, many times. I've told people before, I wouldn't recommend now, but I remember going into Portland. If you've never been out there and seen that Columbia River, I mean, it's just so beautiful. It's just such a beautiful state. But they've wrecked it politically to a point where it's almost not recognizable as an American state. And you're talking about banning, what Scott's talking about, ladies and gentlemen, he's up on this stuff. We have talked about it on the program with Scott before, but banning hunting and fishing, I mean, come on. If that doesn't motivate you to get out and register, if you're not registered, I don't know what else will. You need to be counted on. And guys, Patriots involved in getting that vote out. Scott, I'll give you my predictions on the midterm. I'm an eternal optimist. And I don't know if you know this or not, but I interviewed Darrell Issa a few years ago at the Gun Rights Policy Conference in a fireside chat live in front of about 500 people, and there were thousands watching on their devices and sets and all that good stuff. And he brought up the election and wanted to know how I predicted it. I said, it's easy. Trump, 312 electoral votes. And he said, that's pretty bold. I said, yeah, he's going to win every swing state. And he says, well, ladies and gentlemen, he goes, I don't want to sit on the stage with Mark and tell him he's wrong, but I'm going to sit here and tell him he's wrong. Trump will win, but he'll win by 277 electoral votes. Scott, you remember how many votes Trump won with?
It was right at that number, wasn't it?
312. I nailed it. 312.
312.
ICE's office
Wow.
said if that happens, I'm still waiting for you, Daryl, to call me back, okay? You can eat crow with me. It's because it was a good win. And the reason I say that is because I feel really good
30.
about keeping the House and keeping the Senate. And I think that will happen because where we get our information is just a bunch of lies and garbage. And that's why it's so important. That's why I asked you the question, because Patriot's going to be out there helping to counter that message. Scott, we're getting ready to take our last, well, this is the end of it. I want you to tell people again where they can go real quick and get involved with this amazing company that supports our rights.
It's real easy, Mark. You can go to patriotmobile.com or you can call 72-PATRIOT and talk to one of our 100% U.S.-based sales and support guys. Use code AAR, and we're going to give you a free month of service on all your lines to check it out. So let's get it done. Get signed up today.
Yeah, and you know what, guys? Scott, thank you for that. And by the way, guys, 972 is a Texas area code. Just want to let you know that. It's not an overseas 833 thing. It's a Texas area code. Scott Coburn, man, we love you guys. Thanks so much for being here. I'm glad to talk with you. Real quick before I let you go, you have a great 250th 4th of July, I hope?
I did, man. It was
Boom.
great. I was up in D.C. on the 2nd and 3rd for the Cash Patel Foundation and back home for fireworks family here in Texas.
It works, man. Back in Texas. We love you guys. Patriot Mobile, everybody. PatriotMobile.com/AAR. Scott, thanks for being here. Guys, we're going to get up and do it again tomorrow. Paul Markle will be here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Whatever time you're listening to the program, stay safe, and I'll see you on the radio tomorrow.